Okay, so welcome back to Into the Infinityverse, where I basically go behind the scenes with the Infinityverse, the shared fanfiction universe that me and my friend Jason Voorhees 2011 work on together. And yeah, so I did a video like this a little while back, but I figured there's some new characters and new franchises that are on this list, and yeah, I figured I'd extend that and also kind of go a little more in depth with some of the others. So in here, we're going to talk about all the stuff that isn't canon with the Infinityverse. As in, you're not going to see it a part of the main universe or see it in the multiverse. Because there is stuff that is multiverse, but there were just some stuff that we were like, it's not going to work either way. So you're not going to see it in that form. The closest you would see it in the fanfiction canon, because yeah, we do have rules. Because we thought, yeah, it's not gonna. This whole thing, this shared universe, isn't gonna work if we, even if it's fan fiction, and we bend the rules sometimes. This is not gonna work if we don't have rules. That was one of the major things we did for the Infinityverse, was we gotta have some rules, and we bend them sometimes, but we don't break them. So with that in mind, with that kept in mind, let's talk about some of the stuff you're not going to see in canon. Though I will say that you'll probably see it, the closest you'll see it be canon is probably references like a show the characters watch, or they'll read books about it or read comics or stuff like that, and that'll be the closest you'll see, but they won't be like the characters interacting with that character. So let's get started. So I talked about this before, and this was the major one. Yes, Dragon Ball Z and any of the other Dragon Ball franchises are not canon with this universe. They're not canon with the Infinityverse, and there's several reasons why. First being, Jason's never really watched Dragon Ball, so he was like, yeah, I just don't gel with it, and I understand that, and someone who is a fan, but you know the fandom itself is really rabid, so that was another factor of why we didn't put Dragon Ball in the Infinityverse, because the fandom was so rabid. And another major reason was that there was a reason for it. There was a major reason, because it would just be Goku Ex Machina in here. They would just be literally like, oh, what do we do? Oh, we'll just get Goku to go fight this threat for us, and we don't have to do anything. At least with Superman, the other League members have a point, and sometimes you just can't rely on Superman all the time. It's not the same with, like, Goku. And also, we can just go get the Dragon Balls from another universe. Yeah. But that was the thing, is that those were some of the major reasons. But yeah, it will be an anime that a lot of the characters watch. But yeah, we just didn't want Goku Ex Machina. We just did not want Goku Ex Machina to just completely ruin a storyline. When someone would laugh, it would just be kind of redundant to be like, oh, they can just go to the Dragon Ball universe and go get it. Herpader. No, we're not doing that, son. We ain't doing that. So, there you go for that universe. So for that, anyway, so I guess I should also mention that there are several major shonen jumps that are not going to show up in the Infinityverse, Multiverse, or Prime universe. You're not going to see One Piece. You're not going to see Naruto. Yeah, One Piece, Naruto, Hunter x Hunter. The major ones you're not going to see. I will say, though, that Yu Yu Hakusho is up in the air right now. It is up in the air. I think, that one's difficult. That one's a little difficult, but it's not impossible. But I'm not confirming nor denying that one. And besides, we have the Sailor Scouts. We've got, Sailor Moon. And in our universe, Sailor Moon is the most powerful being in the Prime universe. So, yeah. It's not, Goku. It's, yeah, we got we've got actually something better. We got Sailor Moon. We got the Sailor Scouts. They got the Sailor Guardians. They're the most powerful beings in the Infinityverse, the main universe. So, yeah. But she's got power with limits, so that was the thing that put her over. Like, why? One, because Jason and I are big Sailor Moon fans. Two, she has power, but she has limits. It's the same thing with, like, the Superman thing, where Superman's got all this power, but he's got limits too. So that was one of the major reasons of why Sailor Moon got in. and why she was so vehemently put in here, and why is the focus for a lot of the Phase 1 of the Infinity Verse stories. So there you go. Now, there was one, and I actually want to talk about this real quick. There was one in here that really made us go, I swear to God, this was the one that made us go, fuck, I wish we could put this in here. And we talked about it a lot. Jason and I really talked about it a lot, but nothing was working for us. Nothing was really, like, working for us in these stories. And basically what it is Death Note. Death Note, and you may be thinking, well, Death Note would be easy, right? Like, Death Note would make a lot of sense to be in the Infinity Verse. Well, we thought so too, but then we really gave it some thought, because the major thing that kept it from being main universe or multiverse was that Light could just write the names of the villains in the Death Note and kill them all. That's the thing. I mean, yeah, he could just write the names of all the supervillains that exist, and they'd all be dead. Or at least a good chunk of them, because some of them do keep a really good hold on their supervillain names. I mean, their secret identities. Sorry, I'm just finagling with something right now. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah. So that was the thing that really, we were trying to make it work. Like, we were trying to figure out how we could make this storyline work with Death Note in it, because we really wanted to use Death Note, but the more we thought about, the more realistically it just could not fit. And we were like, well, maybe multiverse, but then it'd be like, well, if we do bring them over to the main universe, we run into that main problem. So yeah, it was tough, because we really wanted to use Light and Ryuk and L, Mello, Nier. We wanted to use all of those characters. We really wanted to do stories with them, but realistically, we just couldn't. We had to abide by our own rules, and we're like, yeah, realistically, the villains would all be dead, and it would be a really fucking boring universe without supervillains. So that was the problem. So yeah, Death Note is not canon in the Infinity Verse. Yeah, that one actually broke our hearts, I'm not gonna lie. So next up is Doctor Who. Doctor Who was another one a lot of people have asked us, that is Doctor Who canon in the Infinity Verse? And sadly, no, he is not canon in the Infinity Verse. Mostly for the same reason as for Goku's, because it'd just be Doctor Ex Machina. I will say, though, that it was a bit of a... And also, the time travel stuff, we have enough time travel characters as it is, and the Doctor is just this outside factor, and a lot of the stuff that happens in Doctor Who just doesn't mesh with our timeline, because we do have a timeline for the Infinity Verse, so the stuff in Doctor Who just does not gel with that. It is going to be a TV show the characters watch, but yeah. And it also does kind of it is a little bad, because I would have liked to have used the Daleks or the Cybermen, but yeah. And also, why didn't we use it in Multiverse? It's kind of the same reason, because again, Doctor can sometimes go into another universe, so we were kind of like, eh. And Jason hasn't really watched a lot of Doctor Who, so it would just be me doing a lot of it, and even I'm like, I don't think Doctor Who would fit in our universe, because again, and plus we have Washu, who's pretty much the Doctor with no, a Rick Sanchez personality. That's another thing. Rick and Morty are also not canon in the Infinity Verse, because Rick is just gonna spoil everything. It's the same with the Doctor. So, sorry about that. Got a little carried away, had to take care of something. Anyway, so yeah, Doctor Who's not canon. The other major thing, I guess I should say, is, well, technically not canon, but we do have elements of it in here. Marvel, DC, any other comics you can think of, they're not in here. They're not gonna be in the Infinity Verse. Now, there are gonna be elements, as obviously we're using the Phoenix Force as part of canon, but we're kind of making it like it's part of the Infinity Verse. We're kind of retooling that. We're also going to be doing that with a few other things, and obviously we are the main event stories are adaptations of comic events. So there is that. Now, but you're not going to see the X-Men or the Avengers or the Justice League show up in the Infinity Verse. I will say that right now. Now, there is one exception, well, technically two exceptions to the rule. The first being Big Hero 6, the animated series, is going, the Disney version of the Big Hero 6, which is technically a Marvel team, they're going to be in the Infinity Verse, but we're going to be following the cartoon version. Mostly because the cartoon version of Big Hero 6 is so distant from its from its comic book counterpart that we were just like, yeah, we could just it could work as its own thing. So we were like, yeah, Big Hero 6, you're okay to go. You are okay to go. And there are going to be some comic book characters from IDW Comics going to be showing up in here, from G.I. Joe and Transformers specifically. So there are, but yeah, they're going to show up in animated shows at some point. So why not put them in the fan fiction anyway? So yeah, characters, comic book characters that were made for the IDW Comics, from G.I. Joe and Transformers, and more or less IDW Comics specifically, are going to show up in the Infinity Verse. So there's that. As for other stuff, Gundam is not going to be canon. Big O, jury's out on that one. Jury's out on Big O. Symbionic Titan I want in the Infinity Verse, but we just haven't found the right time to introduce it, and also it has to depend on Jason okaying it too, because this is a two-man operation, people. so Jason's got to okay it. So I really want Symbionic Titan. We got Megas. All we need is Titan. We're good to go. But we'll see how that plays out. So Symbionic Titan, it's up in the air. Ben 10 is not going to be in the Infinity Verse, and a lot of people were like, really? Ben 10 is not going to be in this shared... You would think he would be one of the big ones to get through the door. Well, no. Mostly because Jason was just like, it's just not for me. And two, it's very much like with Death Note, where a lot of the stuff that happens in Ben 10 doesn't gel with our universe's timeline. So we were like, yeah, it's, Ben 10 is just not going to work. So Ben 10 is not going to be, or any of the alien races are not going to show up in the Infinity Verse. I know that's a bummer to a lot of people, but like, hey, we were just like, we can go without Ben. We can work without Ben 10. We can just totally work without having Ben 10 here. So we were like, yeah, let's just not have him. It's just not going to work. Sorry. Anyway. Where was I? Who else? Resident Evil. That's another one that's kind of the doors open on. DuckTales is canon. Some people asked, is DuckTales canon? It is. It's multiverse. Same with Darkwing. Trying to think of like what else is officially not going to be canon. I just want to really reiterate the major ones. And again, like, Death Note was one we were the most bummed about, because we were like, it's just not going to work. It's just not going to work for us. So we were like, fine, we can't use with Death Note, so we can't make that canon. So, yeah, that was a bummer, but we were like, hey, we got to follow our own rules, so what can you do? It's fine. We can just we can keep going. It's the same thing with Ben 10. We don't need it. Same with Dragon Ball. We don't need it. So at most you'll see like the characters like maybe reading comics or watching those as animes or TV shows. So they're going to be shown, just not like in the capacity most people would want to see them. But hey, that's just this is our fanfiction series, our rules, and if you want to do something, do it yourself. But anyway, so yeah, if you got any more questions of like what's canon, what's not, just comment below and ask. But yeah, so once again, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.